Let's take a look at Umbreon, a defender excellent at endurance and support. We expect this Pokemon to assist the team by taking lots of damage, as well as enabling allies and hindering enemies. For held items, we want the Resonant Guard and EXP share for endurance, support, and mobility. Our final item can either be the Focus Band if we're using Snarl, or Rescue Hood if we're using Wish. In solo queue, most allies don't choose a supporter anymore if they see Umbreon, so I find it best to run Rescue Hood and Wish. All movesets will be featured in this video, so don't you worry. For battle items, I choose the full heal as you're about to see, so we can focus on disrupting instead of being disrupted. Alright? And now for movesets. We start with Swift at level 1 to help with farming, followed by Fake Tears at level 2 for contested spawns. At level 4, we can choose Mean Look if our enemies have 3 or more special attackers, or Foul Play if 3 or more physical attackers. At level 6, we can choose Wish and equip the Rescue Hood if we don't have a supporter, or Snarl and equip the Focus Band if we do. Finally, at level 8, we learn Moonlight Prance, our Unite move, which consumes half of enemy shields and gives it to Umbreon. Try to position yourself at the center of team fights to make the most of it. And of course, we have Emblems. I use my Mamoswine set for maximum bulk. Resource articles will be in the description, as well as a pinned comment for more details. With that, we are ready to take Umbreon to battle. Alright, this game uses Mean Look and Snarl. This set is for punishing special attackers with poor mobility as well as damage control. And why did I choose Mean Look? You would remember that we would select it if more enemies are special attackers. In this case, we have 3 special attackers: Cramorant, Alola Ninetales, and Gardevoir. One common thing about these special attackers is their lack of mobility, so it would really be a nightmare for them if you could trap them in a place. Oh, guess what? We have Mean Look. So that's the rationale behind it. Now, Umbreon is recommended in the top path, and the Groudon map just went live yesterday. There is a learning curve to be had in this map, I will admit, because, well, for one, the spawns would not would be at a different place. I need to like get used to the new times and spawns of the Pokemon. All right. And look at this. I find the full heal so useful. Sure, like if you would look at Unite API, which by the way is like linked in this video. If you would look at Unite API, the most common battle items for Umbreon would be Potion, X Speed, and Eject Button, which I understand. They are good items. However, when I do like solo queue, I find that there's a lot of Pokemon that could disrupt me, like Gardevoir and Alola Ninetales. So having the full heal is very helpful in terms of like keeping your momentum, because you want to be the one disrupting if you're Umbreon. You don't want to be the one being disrupted, if that makes sense. I haven't had the chance to try out the items from Unite API, but the full heal is what I've tried, and so far it's working great. Look at this. So the Ralts, together with a lot of special attackers, would have poor mobility, and this Ralts is on its lonesome. It was easy for me to get rid of it, even though I don't do a lot of damage as a defender, because it's also frail. So if I just have the means to trap it with Mean Look like I'm doing right now, these special attackers don't stand a chance, right? There you go. Easy peasy. And this team composition in particular, we are lacking an attacker. We have 2 supporters. Is that right? 2 supporters? Yeah. Wigglytuff and Blissey. We have 2 supporters and 1 defender. So we're really lacking offense. What I'm trying to do is I am trying to stay near to where my allies are, just to make sure that we have some form of offensive pressure. There you go. I guess this Curly took it personally. Well, it got revenge on us because it got the Regidrago. Speaking of which, it's I noticed that some teammates are not doing anything about Regidrago when it appears most of the time. I don't know if that's just because they're not used to it spawning, but it's really a huge thing when you get Regidrago because it grants experience points, and if I'm not mistaken, would increase your scoring speed for a bit. Whatever the case, it's such a game changer. Say for example, you had a rough early game. Regidrago is actually a good chance to like turn the tides if we're able to get it. All right, so we got the Regieleki. Oh, and speaking of which, the Regis would like spawn at the top and the bottom uh corners of the map like they used to. However, it's random, so you can see that Regieleki spawned at the top, but it could also spawn at the bottom. So that's one of the changes that uh happened, in case you were unaware. There you go. Now we're trying to get the bottom Reggie. This would be Reggie. Okay, it's Regice. And here is Alola Ninetales, another special attacker that causes a lot of hindrances. It's a good thing that Blissey is here because Blissey could also help with the hindrances. Though that's in exchange for the lack of offense. You know, for this game, we're kind of doing great despite the lack of offense. That's what really I was afraid of going into this game. Is like okay, we might be outpaced by the enemy team just because they have like the upper hand in offense. And I'm afraid it might snowball to the mid and late game, but so far we're doing so good. We're actually in the lead in terms of taking down like the goal zones. And speaking of which, you can see that you now require 120 points to destroy that bottom goal zone. They made it so that the top path is easier to take over, which I guess is great since most defenders slash supporters are designated in the top path, which means if they're able to take it down sooner, the enemy goal zones, then they can participate in the more tedious bottom path objectives and goal zones. That's a nice change, I think. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but since we're using Snarl in this game, we have the focus band equipped instead of Wish. Now, on paper, the focus band and the rescue hood would do the same thing in terms of boosting your physical and special defense. However, if you're using Snarl, you're mainly using Umbreon as a defender for its bulk, right? So you have some form of recovery when you're low health. That's what I'm using right now. But if you don't have a supporter, then you're gonna use Wish. And Rescue Hood would be a more appropriate item because the Rescue Hood would increase shields and healing effects that are granted to allies. And Wish could heal yourself or your allies. So that's the reasoning behind it. Right now, I'm using Snarl, so I am running the focus band, as you can see. Now we're gonna try to get the bottom Reggie again. Alola Ninetales. Okay, so remember this Unite move, Moonlight Prance. It would consume half of the enemy shields. That's why I tried to aim at the center of the team fights or wherever the enemies are like clumped together. I tried to aim for that spot just so I could consume as much shields as possible. Though at this at the time during the Reggie fight, I don't think Alola Ninetales had any active shields that I could be consuming. But anywho, that's the idea. Just like with most Evolution Unite moves, you wanna aim where the enemies are, like a dead center of team fights. Also, this Gardevoir, poor thing. Even with the eject button, I could still like chase it down because I got the berry, and I could trap it with Mean Look. It has a high damage output, yes, but it's really poor in close combat. That's why Mean Look is like indispensable if you're fighting a lot of special attackers, because they usually have low mobility at the expense of having a high damage output and range in their moves. See? Easy peasy. And isn't this beautiful? It is now time for Groudon, another major change in this map. You can also notice that the area around Groudon does not have grass, so it's more difficult for assassins to like do their stealth modes, because they would be far too exposed if they go to Groudon. They would have to be like stealthy elsewhere, much farther from Groudon. So just keep that in mind. This is why your usual speedsters or like Mimikyu assassins might have a difficult time in the late game in the Groudon fight. And not only does it punish like Mean Look, not only does Mean Look punish the special attackers, but also like physical attackers who are frail. Like that Zeraora has mobility, but it's so frail that it can't afford to be trapped in Mean Look. Because if you're inside that dark area created by Mean Look, all your basic attacks become boosted attacks, and that heals you. So you want to try to trap your enemy in there and get inside the circle as well, where you have the advantage in your little your little zone. Another thing that I was worried is like I'm still used to Rayquaza, so I was worried that my shield might disappear because the enemies are attacking me. But just something to remember when you're Groudon, for the Groudon shield, that does not apply. Like all your boosts are intact until you get knocked out. In that case, all the boosts will be transferred to whomever knocked you out. That's just another difference. Because the Rayquaza shield, it has like a limited life, for lack of a better word. It disappears. All right, so how'd I do? Ooh, it's not every game that I get MVP as a defender, so I did great. All right, despite of the lack of damage, I think I made up for like the coordination. I was supporting. Okay. So let us move on to the next game. This game would use Mean Look and Wish. This set is for punishing special attackers with poor mobility, as well as healing support. You can see that we have 4 special attackers in this game: Blissey, Glaceon, Gudra, and Suicune. And a lot of these special attackers have a problem with mobility, which would be awesome for Mean Look trapping. Oh, and since we're on the topic, hear me out. I have an evil idea. Mean Look and Draco Meteor Latios. Hmm? I sadly don't have the footage to show for it, but if somebody could make it happen, please, the internet deserves it. Let's make it happen. Or, maybe I will one of these days. But anywho, you know the drill. Umbreon is recommended at the top path, so we start with Swift and help with farming. It's a good thing that this Buzzwole came with me to the top, because for some reason, a lot of all-rounders, especially in solo queue, would prefer to take the central area and force like the speedster or whatever frail ally is there to like to the lanes. They would pressure them to the lanes. I don't think that's right. So I'm glad that this Buzzwole ally is being supportive. Also, the Natu Natu spawn again in the top path, just in case you didn't notice. So cute. We have a bit more spawns to work with, I think, compared to the Rayquaza map. And then we actually have 2 all-rounders for this game. we have Scizor and Buzzwole. Scizor is like recommended in the jungle anyway, so I don't mind it. And so far so good, we're doing great. What we are lacking is a speedster. But I guess Scizor is kind of fast, so that's okay. Another thing to watch out for as Umbreon, though you guys probably know this already, but if you're holding the EXP share, there are instances wherein it's best to like back off from the battle for a bit just so you could evolve, because you'll get stuck at level 3 if you don't, and you know your teammates aren't really giving you a chance to level up. So just keep that in mind. And so far so good. We are still like trying to get the spawns at the top path. As you can see, because of Regidrago appearing at the 8-minute mark, the top path can be cleared if your opponents would decide to prioritize Regidrago. And another thing, the top path is easier to clear because lesser points are required to break the gold zone. So what you can do as a strategy is, depending on where you are at the game, like are you on a losing or a winning like advantage, you could prioritize Regidrago, or you could take advantage of the enemies taking care of Regidrago to destroy the top path. It's just something to think about going forward in the Groudon map, because it's something that could turn the tides later on. And now here I'm going to try to trap this enemy Buzzwole. This enemy Buzzwole has been getting away with a lot. I don't like it. Luckily, I'm supporting our now weaker ally Buzzwole. So, 2 is always better than 1. I know I should probably think of something interesting to say, because just for full transparency, I play the games and do the voiceovers separately. I guess it would be more organic if I did both at the same time, but I do want to focus on the game. The only thing is, I have no idea like what was going on through my mind at this point. But here, I'm pretty sure that I was trying to aim for the center of the team fight as I land my Unite move, just so I could consume any enemy shields that are active and get it for myself. Now I take this opportunity to score because it's free. And we're also gonna take this Reggie for ourselves in the bottom. I really do wish they would help me. Come on. Thank you, Buzzwole. Also remember, because you can use Mean Look defensively to like trap an enemy you can't win a fight against and then run away. But you could also use it offensively, just like what I did with that Reggie. So trap it in Mean Look and then get into the circle with it. And utilize your boosted attacks to wear it down. You know, just some little something to keep in mind. And now I am back to the top path. So as a defender, with Umbreon specifically, because some defenders like Ho-Oh can function as all-rounders. So they really have no issues like moving along the map on their own. But with Umbreon, it's not really built for offense and would benefit if it's always with an ally. So just keep in mind that with Umbreon, it might pay off if you try to stay as north in the map as possible where an ally is. Like the northernmost area of the map where an ally is where Umbreon should be. That's what I'm trying to do as Umbreon. Now I'm gonna trap this Goodra. Another thing that I think I did well in that specific interaction is I trapped Goodra before it could get to the grass and regenerate. So with Goodra, try to use Mean Look to keep it from going to the grass so it can use its ability. And I also want my allies to compete for the objective because I don't know, but it's such a pet peeve of mine if they don't even try, like they farm. Because sometimes I feel like had we just gotten to the area earlier, we could have stole that kill away from them, from the enemy. I just hate it when my allies don't even try. It feels like we're giving it away. But anywho, that's fine. Also, if you see yourself in any of these games and you're a YouTuber, you know, say something in the comments, the live chat if you're watching this on our premiere night. I'd like to know who are these amazing people who are with me in this game. Say hi or something. Because I'll tell you, some of the most toxic players I have met are from Pokemon Unite, but at the same time, I've also met a lot of good folks in this community. So, you know, if this is you, say something. Let's say hi, at least. Okay, since they have Blissey, for sure there was a shield that I could have taken from myself. But it was best to run away because, yeah, we're gonna be outpaced if we kept confronting them in that instance. Alright, now I want to make sure that this Blastoise... I wasn't sure why the Blastoise was charging head-on to the northern area of the map, but I just went with it because I didn't want it to be alone. Granted, it's very bulky. Did you guys know that Blastoise actually has the most physical defense in the roster? But even still, I couldn't, like, let it be on its own. Alright, this is where the full heal is really handy. I could have been frozen and died earlier, but it bought me a bit of time just so my allies could get away. And we actually did a good job installing them because, as you could see, Groudon is almost out and our Buzzwole got it for us. And again, just because we're used to Rayquaza, we might be afraid that our shield would be gone if we get attacked by the enemy. But remember, your boosts would stay intact until you get knocked out, in which your boosts would be transferred to whomever knocked you out. It's unfortunate that I lost my boosts, but I want this Glaceon to be able to keep it, so I hope it retreats. Okay, it does. Cool. If you're like in the lead, if you see the message that you're in the lead, a good practice might be to just defend your gold zone, because if you try to score, I understand that it's the more proactive and aggressive approach. But if it doesn't go according to plan and your boosts get taken away, you know, it might you might lose the game if you get KO'd trying to score when you could have just defended. Well, good thing for this ally Glaceon. I mean, I don't mind getting knocked out because I don't have a Groudon boost. But I'm just saying, if you have a Groudon boost and you're in the lead in the end game, just defend your gold zone. It's probably for the best. I'm trying to take this one because there's already several of my allies in that bottom gold zone. I don't want a stray enemy scoring last minute. Alright, how'd we do? Alright, good job everyone. Let's move on to the next game. Alright, so for this game, we're gonna use Foul Play and Wish. This set is for punishing physical attackers, as well as healing support. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but whenever we have all 5 roles present in my team in solo queue, I feel like a winner already. Like, I feel really good going into the game because we have Speedster, All-Rounder, Attacker, Supporter, and myself as a Defender. It is really good because you have all the roles, so you have the tools that you need to succeed However, with that comes the question of how well coordinated are you gonna be with these people? So anywho, we have five physical attackers as enemies. So foul play is gonna be awesome against this team. And if you find yourself like in a balanced team with all the roles present in solo queue, expect that the early game, maybe even until the mid game, would be a bit rough because some allies would take a while to get strong, but you could expect the late game, mid to late game, to be amazing. The early game is gonna be rough, especially if your enemy is hyper offensive. But I promise you, just try not to stay tilted and keep pushing until the end. That's just my request as a main supporter or defender in solo queue. Try not to get tilted. It takes time. We're gonna get there, okay? Also, I don't see Hoopa a lot. Like, just in general. Just because it's so hard to use, not many people are using it. So when it does, I find myself like, oh wait, right. This is how I work with the Hoopa. Because I promise you, I'm sorry to Proby, the Hoopa player. I don't know who you are, but I'm sorry. I understand what you were trying to do. It's just that in the moment, I had a brain fart and also my controller was failing me. I was trying to press R. I'm playing on the Nintendo Switch. Just so I could take advantage of those portals, right? But it's not working. Oh my god. But you know, just a little caution if you have Hoopa as your ally. You would need to press some buttons which you may not be used to doing. So you can take advantage of those portals that would provide mobility and healing if you get led to the base. Just like this one, for example. I could have like pressed R and healed myself and gone back. Just like what Hoopa did, but I don't know. For some reason my controller wasn't it had other plans, so I'm sorry. But this could have turned out different if my controller wasn't failing me. Anywho, we are quite struggling in the early game just because, you know, we still need to get strong. And we also have a defender and a supporter at top where we're being attacked. So there's not much we could do to this Trevenant offensively. However, we are doing great in terms of holding it off. So that's something. And as of now, this like I'm gonna assume that given the boosts, this Cerulege probably took jungle. That's why it's overpacing us. But I promise you, it's gonna get better late game if we would just keep pushing until the end. It's just rough. This is why people like are discouraged to use defenders and supporters because I understand it can be quite discouraging in the early game if you're not like getting any sort of momentum. But if you keep on like, you know, just adjusting to your teammates, it's gonna pay off, especially when you get to the higher levels. Where the enemies would be more skilled and they would be more coordinated. And would most likely be on like duos or trios playing games. But as much as possible, I try to be flexible. I try to like be competent in playing every role because most of the time I do solo queue. You have to be flexible. That's just it. All right, we are still like struggling in terms of like strength. It is now almost mid game, and we're still having trouble without facing the enemy. But I feel like we're getting close because we're at level 7. At least I am at level 7. Unite moves are about to be learned, and once this Hoopa gets his Unite move, we're gonna have an easier time getting around the map and be more coordinated. See, this is another instance of my controller failing me. Like, I swear, I hate it when that happens. And let me know in the comments if it's just me or if it happens to you guys. But this is actually my second Switch OLED controller. And I have to say that the second one kind of feels cheap compared to the first one that I've had. I don't know. Like, in theory, it should still be like made with the same quality. I understand that we have the Switch 2 now, and I bought this Switch OLED controller like a bit recently. But I really do feel that there was a decrease in quality. Let me know if it's just me or if it's you guys as well. What I'm saying is I would not recommend buying like a Switch OLED nowadays. I don't know. Maybe it's just in my area, but it feels lesser quality compared to when I got it back in 2022. Alright, so Hoopa has learned its Unite move. We're able to steal the Regieleki from the enemy. And see, this is where the game gets better. So if you took the time and the patience to like persevere until this point in the game, it's gonna pay off. Because you now have all roles at full power or close to their full power. And if you're coordinated, you can outpace the enemy team. Because in the early game, they might outpace you with hyper offense, but in the late game, they would not be able to take you down based on brute strength alone. And I don't know, but for some reason, I gravitated towards supporters and defenders when I was first playing Pokemon Unite, mainly because I wasn't skilled enough to be a frontliner, and I felt more comfortable like enabling my allies. The first Unite license that I ever brought with in-game coins was Blissey. I vividly remember that. I saw a game from Fennel in the World Championships, and that last game, their support. I think I still remember their Pokemon. Hold on. So their defender was Mamoswine, supporter was Blissey, attacker was Mew, speedster was Dodrio, and all-rounder was Blaziken. That game, I saw like the builds, and Blissey was the most affordable out of all the licenses that they used. So I got it, and I don't know. I had an inkling for defenders and supporters. So you're actually seeing me like in my most comfortable playing Umbreon. Look at how much we're outpacing the enemy. And remember, we had a lot of physical attackers in the enemy. I think all of them are physical attackers. So Umbreon is having a field day using foul play in these physical attackers. Also, if you could take a look at Unite DB, that's where I get my Pokemon Unite info. You would be able to filter the roster based on the stats. And last time I checked, Talonflame is the Pokemon with the highest physical attack in the roster. So if you just happen to face a Talonflame, I'm just saying, foul play is gonna do a lot of damage in that burb. Yes. Okay, let me try this again. All right, that's what I was trying to do earlier. Okay, we're gonna try to take Groudon from this enemy team. Yes, they are offensive, they are fast, but foul play is gonna take advantage of that and deal a lot of damage. I'm trying to make sure that they don't like get a chance to score while we're getting Groudon, and I'm also trying to make sure that I am taking a hint from Hoopa's signals, because for some reason in solo queue, either they don't know how it works or they're deliberately ignoring it when I'm playing as Hoopa. Like, they're not going to my portals. I don't understand why that is, but I try to take a hint from what Hoopa is doing. Also, our allies are conveniently handling Groudon, and there is this Zeraora, which is also conveniently near the goal zone. I wanted to make sure that it's not by itself because it's being attacked. And I think it paid off. Also, shoutouts. I don't know what GMM means, but I do know that GMM is kind of like a squad, a Pokemon Unite squad here in the Philippines where I'm from. I may be playing with one of their members. I just don't know who exactly this Zera Aura player is, but you know, hi. I supported you. Say hi in the chat, in the comment section. All right, how'd we do? Oh boy. All right. I like to believe that I enabled a lot of them. 8 assists, 2 KOs. Not bad. All right, I'll have you take a look at these numbers for a good second. You can pause or screenshot, and then we'll move on to the next game. All right? All right, our last game for this video is using Foul Play and Snarl. This set is for punishing physical attackers as well as damage control. And you can see that we have 3 physical attackers with Crustle, Cinderace, and Charizard as an enemy. And that's why I decided to use Foul Play. Also, since we're using Snarl, we're gonna have the Focus Band equipped instead of the Rescue Hood. So just keep that in mind. And as usual, we are clearing the top path with the help of this Charmander. I'm so happy that it came with me because I have the EXP share, and Charmander is kind of weak. Actually, not kind of. It is weak in the early game. So I'm happy that it's with me so it could get stronger faster. Charizard is actually like the Pokemon with the highest win rate as of last week. This video was being recorded at 5:56 p.m. August the 5th of 2025. Just so you have context of when this is. And yeah, Charizard is really good right now. And it really benefits Charizard to have a defender or a supporter with EXP share, just so it could get that early game struggle like off the way. So right now we are trying to defend this goal zone as best as we possibly could. We are being attacked, but so is the bottom. I think we're holding up well, considering that both of us are still alive. Alright, we have spawns that are waiting to get knocked out. I am now Umbreon, that's good. And I am trying to get these spawns before they can. Alright. Now, it's been said in Game 8's site, the resource article would be in the description as well as the pinned comment. It has been said there that Umbreon is actually frailer compared to other defenders. That may be true, like if we're going to look at the stats, but considering its toolkit, I think with the right items, emblems, and movesets, you should be able to work around that because my Umbreon can take a lot of damage, even though its defensive stats are paler in comparison to other defenders. I manage. Alright, Charizard is almost... Wait, I'm at a higher level than Charmeleon. It's almost ready to evolve. Just try to knock out these wild Pokemon. There you go. Alright. Oh, speaking of Charizard, we are gonna get Mega Charizard X very soon. And I don't know if that would ultimately be a nerf or a buff for Charizard. Because the way they're making it is just like what they did with Zacian and Mega Mewtwo. X and Y, one of the item slots would not be available because it would be holding the special item just for the Mega Evolution or the Pokemon. So I don't know. I feel like Charizard kind of needs the 3 item slots. Like major buffs would have to be done. Well, technically that's not my problem. It's the developer's problem, developer. But you know, I just wish that they would do it in a way where it would feel strong, but you know, not like compromised. Strong but not compromised. Okay. So I'm trying to get to the the northernmost part of the map where an ally is, in which case that would be this Gengar. I'm just making sure that I'm with an ally at all times. Again, unlike some defenders like Ho-Oh, Umbreon would work best if it's with an ally. Whereas Ho-Oh can essentially function as an all-rounder if it so chooses. And it could get away with it. Umbreon is not that defender. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but I actually featured these move sets in the order of win rates. So as of now, Foul Play and Snarl has the highest win rate among the move combinations of Umbreon. My guess would be because a lot of people prefer physical attackers. Just like I said, Charizard is very good in this metagame. So that's for Foul Play. And even though supporters are not commonly used, um, Umbreons would tend to be more defensive rather than supportive. And they would prioritize like the damage control over the healing support of Wish. They would prioritize Snarl because most people tend to use like hyper offensive sets and compositions. So that's my guess on why Foul Play and Snarl is doing really well. Like a 51% win rate. You can verify that by going to Unite API, the link to which will be in the description and in the pinned comment of this video. Now while they're doing that, I'm trying to get a head start on this Reggie Steel because the enemy's quite busy. Though I do see that Cinderace. Thank God I'm bulky. I took that Unite move like a champ. See, that's what I'm saying. It is frailer compared to other defenders, but it could still take a hit or two. Powerful ones at that. Alright. And again, out of all the battle items that are available, I get why some people would use potion, eject button, and X speed. But for me personally, I find that the full heal is really like doing the most because foul play would actually give you some form of hindrance resistance. And on top of that, a full heal would like keep you going so you can disrupt your enemy. I personally think that full heal is the best for this meta game. Try full heal. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's so frustrating when the enemy gets away because they were able to get the berry before you do. But it is what it is. Yeah, not even the full heal could save me from that Gengar. Okay, it is the final stretch. And this Charizard is in an awesome spot. The Charizard could actually destroy the goal zone. Alright, Gengar, let's do this. I wish that Charizard destroyed the goal zone, but it's okay. It's okay. We got it. Alright. Pikachu is taken care of. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful steal from the Gengar. You know, as obvious as it is, if you're playing Charizard, in team fights and objectives, you have to follow this Charizard's example and prioritize the attackers and the speedsters. Any any enemy who could do lots of damage, you prioritize that with your single target unite move. And you should have a better chance of getting the Groudon for yourself. And foul play also provides some form of dash, so you could pursue your opponents who are trying to get away. This Crustle isn't looking so good. And again, if you have the Groudon boosts already, as tempting as it is to like spawn camp the enemy, which is kind of what we're inclined to do, it might be best to just defend. I know it's rather hypocritical of me saying that as I am like here scoring, but you know, just to if you really need a victory, it might be helpful to just defend your goal zone. Now I am spawn camping them. Well, there's little time and there's nothing much to do. Alright, so that is all our games. Let's wrap up this video by sharing your favorite Umbreon builds and strategies. Thank you so much to our channel members for all that they do. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a good look at these numbers. Take a screenshot. Bye!